Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a max effort squat and deadlift day. So I kind of decided to try something today that I've always saw Louis Simmons say that he did. He's always said he likes to do reverse hypers before he does squats or deadlifts, right? I'm like, you know what? I never warm up for deadlifts, but I don't see the harm in it. Might as well do it. It will get the low back, get some blood flow to it. So I might as well give it a try. So I did my first set of reverse hypers, 25 rep set, normal work set for me, before doing deadlifts. And I decided for my max effort lift, I really don't want to do double maxes. I don't think it's necessarily ideal. If I do enough training volume and I do the speed work correctly, we shouldn't need multiple maxes on a lower body, just like we don't need them on the upper body every week, right? Just get powerful, get big, get strong, and use the max effort work to get stronger. And I think people forget that, when we're rotating through these maxes, it's to just get good at maxing, right? And upper body lifts, pressing is pressing, lower body is lower body. You don't necessarily need the specific lifts, right? You don't have to have a squat and a deadlift in order to get the effect that you want. It's just not necessary, not every week. We're still getting a max in. So I ramped these up. I haven't done one of these in a really long time. So I just kind of ramped them and decided, let's just see where I'm at. And I had someone in a stream ask me this morning, they're like, what do you plan on hitting on a deficit deadlift? And I said, I think I'm going to do a deficit. I'm like, we don't plan that. That's absolutely not allowed on any sort of conjugate maxing. In fact, I'm not going to go into all the details. It's a big no-no for my clients when clients want to do conjugate, if I'm going to put them on conjugate, don't ever ask me what I think you're going to hit. Don't tell me what you think you're going to hit. I'm going to change the lift on you. And it's almost a punishment so that they quit doing it. But number two, it's also to get them to understand you can't think about that ahead of time. So once you've thought about it, you have to change the lift. Don't follow through with that lift. Go pick something you've not thought about. All right, in this case, the 525 I knew I had another jump based on it. So I went up another 20 pounds, went up to 545. Felt like a max. We were good. So then I did some good mornings next. I want to get stronger at good morning, and I felt like on that my glutes were slowing me down just a little bit at the follow through. So I'm like, well, let's do some chain work. All right, let's do some chain work on the good mornings. Just first set a little sloppier. That first rep was sloppy. So then I did one from the front, just so we can see the angles. What we're doing with this movement. So I ended up I've ramped up and did some sets working my way up. And then I went ahead and just settled with 315 with 80 pounds of chains. So I started with just the chains and worked my way up just to see how some work sets felt. And when I got here to 315, I started recording. So I did 2 triples. Again, it's max effort day, so we can go heavy on this stuff. And yes, I know that this is not the strongest I've ever been on Good Mornings, but I feel like, again, I'm going to work them up. They have great carryover for me, particularly on this type system. And I do need my training to be a little bit dominant towards the posterior chain. I need that area stronger. But I do want to do some quad work. So I definitely did a bit, like 6 total sets for quads on the max effort day. But I think on speed day, I'll skip leg extensions. So I did 3 sets of belt squats. I supersetted a couple sets of GHRs in between. I only threw one of them up the angle that I liked better. I did do 2 sets of 10 though. But with the belt squats, these felt just really heavy on my quads. So my quads are still sore from last week. I noticed that as soon as I started doing these, my quads had DOMs kicking back in and they hurt. That first set actually was painful. So I'm like, oh man. But I went ahead and did this. And I know I've done a little bit heavier last time, but I also feel like almost the set quality was suffering trying to do with that extra weight. These felt a lot smoother. The second, third set, they felt really good. I felt like they were quality sets. Once I kind of got into the groove here. But again, we don't have to always, every single thing doesn't need to be the bleeding edge. We don't need to add so much weight that we're then struggling to get the range of motion. That's almost where I feel when I'm going really deep like that. It's almost how I feel on that. So I took the 25 pounds off, and the 6s felt like good sets, maybe 1 or 2 reps in reserve. But again, we don't have to destroy the muscles every time. We just need some good quality stimulus, build some muscle, work the good range of motion there. Okay, so then the glute ham raise, of course, you guys can see kind of where the loose skin is, and that's okay. I can live with that. Something I'm not going to be ashamed of. It's still there a bit, and it'll tighten up more and more as I continue to get leaner over the years. It's tightened up a lot. Over time, it'll do better. Just be consistent. So I did 2 sets of 10 on that, but I did 3 sets of 6 for the belt squats. And my focus there was to try to get deep. So what I wanted to do on the belt squats, my goal was to just try to get these really, really deep. All right, that's my goal. Get some nice heavy work sets with a good range of motion. This is going to carry over to my squats. We wanted to carry over to the squats, and particularly over to power squatting at this point. So I'm taking the stance a hair wider on these. It's still not quite where I'm going to squat, but I want them decently wide, but a full deep range of motion. Build the quads, build the adductors, right? We need to build those up. Although I feel like on the squatting, my quads are definitely, I don't feel that they're limiting. I think it really is hip extension at this point. I feel like things like my glutes just need to come up. So we're just working a lot of stuff to work that. So then leg extensions, I did 3 sets of 20. I did like 21, I think, on the last set. I had a little more. Again, we're getting close to failure, not 100% there, but it's hard to tell on this type of swinging pendulum that I'm using. But I got a good burn, and that's what counts. We know we got pretty close to failure, and lit the quads up for just some good pump work after doing the heavier work, because the belt squats were heavy with a lot of tension. So I did supersets on that with upper back. And it's like, I like this too. So it's kind of like I'm trying to do chest support and stuff. I want to do upper back work every day. Some days I'm going to do the pin. I might do the pin leg row actually. But I'm doing seal rows a lot of the days, especially before benching. But I also feel like once we've done all this heavy lower body work, I feel like strength is a little compromised, right? It's a little compromised. So an exercise like that works really, really well if you're worried your strength may be down, because it's kind of hard to row heavy even on a seal row. But some sets of 12, like those are hard sets. Those are pretty much limit sets for me. 12 is about all I can do with that weight, because I've been doing this lift a little in the past few weeks ago. But again, I like those. Really good for that upper back, and I need to build that upper back, and I need that extra shoulder health, as we continue to work on that shoulder inflammation. So here, again, I just did the supersets there. So 3 sets of 20 on the leg extensions, 3 sets of 12 back and forth on those incline dumbbell rows. So again, I'm trying to make sure I work my upper back almost every day, because again, I feel like I need it. I feel like I'll benefit from it. I got crazy strong before, and I feel like I need it for my bench, for stabilizing on the bench. I need my shoulders really stable on the bench as we get stronger. I also feel like making sure that shelf is nice and big and strong for the squat bar really will help me get my squat back up to where I want it, right? Well up into the 500s, because the goal is I want a 550 raw squat again. I hit 500 a couple months ago. So again, I'm feeling like when I do some of the stuff like the upper back, it could be bigger, it could be stronger. And you're never going to look worse for having an upper back. Those traps, rear delts, all that stuff makes you look real big from behind, right? It makes you look real big when you got a shirt on. So again, good stuff all the way around. Good stuff for aesthetics, good stuff for strength. And of course, I'm going to continue to push that. People are like, so you're going to go pure powerlifting with conjugate? No, we're going to care about aesthetics. We care about arms. I'm going to have a dedicated arm day. Like Wednesdays, I'm going to come in and just work those biceps as like a weak point day, right? Continue to build the arms. Continue to work on body composition. Right? We need to tighten up, lose a little more body fat, get the waistline tighter, bring up the arms. Obviously, other stuff needs to grow, pecs and upper back. And, everything needs to grow, but the arms do need a little bit more love. But the beauty of it is having a one dedicated bicep day. If I'm doing all this pulling the rest of the week, it is re-stimulating some of that. There's something to be said for that, even in the literature of why sometimes a muscle once a week works really well, even though in theory it shouldn't, because your other movements, if they re-spark that a little bit, are refeeding that muscle protein synthesis off that training stimulus, if that makes sense. So in other words, the muscle isn't really detraining after a week, even though in theory it should, because you're hitting it with other stuff. Like all that rowing and pulling is still working the biceps as a secondary. So they are getting some stimulus, but then we come in and we only hammer them once a week. And I'm trying to only do the supine grip stuff once a week, so that those tendons are okay, right? I don't want those tendons inflamed from doing all the underhand grip stuff and then deadlifting. But once a week we can get away with it, and we can do a pretty fair amount of it, right? Do a variety of rep ranges and angles. So then at the end, I did my reverse hypers. I did 3 sets, and then in between these, I did 2 sets of neck extensions. I want to keep a little bit of neck work in. I don't want to go overboard on it because, again, I've dealt with that crick in my neck and everything. But I feel like just getting in and doing some of them will be good just for the neck health, keep the neck strong. And again, that contributes also to the whole upper back thing, right? Making sure that whole upper back area is strong. And also a little bit of neck work goes a long way if I'm going to use a safety bar for anything. It really is a game changer for using the safety bar, of keeping that area strong so when that bar is pressing on you, you don't feel like you're going to black out the same, pressing on your neck. So again, just good all around stuff for making you tougher, you know. Remember, concussions and whiplash get reduced by that stuff too, not just for fighters, although it will help. If you have a strong neck, you're going to be a little harder to knock out. Not saying it can't happen, just gives you a little resistance. There's a reason fighters do it. But it reduces concussion, so if someone does come up and pop you, you're less likely to have traumatic brain injury. You know, it will reduce that chance. Same thing with car accidents, whiplash. Big deal, like, because you never know. These things happen. We get in car accidents, all of us do, sooner or later. So again, just thinking of stuff like that. But then, of course, the reverse hypers, you guys know how I feel about those. I'm a massive fan, especially if I'm going to do heavy good mornings. I almost feel like we need the reverse hyper. We need the reverse hyper to help with the recovery from doing that, in addition to all its own benefits for your back and glutes. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.